Attorney Amihan April Alcazar, sa lahat ng bumubuo ng The Education Channel at sa ating mga manunood, magandang gabi po sa ating lahat. Una sa lahat, nais kong batiin si Attorney April para sa paglulunsad ng kanyang kahangahangang proyektong The Education Channel. Mahalaga ang episode natin ngayong gabi dahil ito ang premier broadcast dito sa ating bansa. Sa pamamagitan ng programang ito, hindi lamang tayo naghahatid ng edukasyon sa mga mag-aaral ng bansa. Tinatalakay din natin ang mahalagang usapin. Ngayon gabi ay tatalakay natin ang estado ng edukasyon sa bansa na humaharap sa matinding hamon na dulot ng COVID-19. Para sa akin, hindi lamang ang pagpapatuloy ng edukasyon ang dapat nating tutukan sa new o better normal. Mahalaga ring talakayin natin kung paano nating iaangat ang kalidad ng edukasyon sa bansa. Paano ba magiging mas matatag ang sektor ng edukasyon sa harap ng mga krisis na tulad ng kinakaharap natin? Samahan po natin si Attorney April sa pagtalakay at pagsuri ng mga usaping ito. Bilang chairman ng Senate Committee on Basic Education, Arts and Culture, ako po ay inyong katawang sa ating pagsisikap na iangat ang kalidad ng ating edukasyon. Maraming salamat at magandang gabi po sa ating lahat. Stay safe. April para sa paglulunsad ng kanyang kahangahangang proyektong The Education Chapter.
Everyone, good evening to all of you, especially to our viewers here and abroad.
In all our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and we hope that you'll be able to join us with our news Harsh and Don't be tired of tonight, just more.
And digital collaboration.
Again, I'd like to welcome as well all the guests coming from the industry, the education. So since last year, the 196 organizations and leaders, right, they made the jumps from 1 to 2, right, or even 3. Can you imagine the number of people are going through mental health issues? So that's how will we do this? So we research, that there are certain things that have already been implemented with this as a as a way to inform as well other leaders, in the other agencies. I love this, coming from the Department of Trade and Industry. They're saying that when the nation develops its people, the people. So thank you for today. God bless you. Thank you so much.
And we're happy that for the second quarter of 2021, we were able to among our workers to go out, especially those who have not been vaccinated. Overseas po, alam naman po natin na the pandemic has an impact. We speak about 2 million na rin po yung atin pong na-release.
So these are the things that we would like to invite everyone, if these are very important to you.
hope that you will stay safe as a feature of our program for tonight. So we hope that you will listen and partake of the Career Assistance Program every time, every Tuesday. This is all that we can offer to you from the Education Channel tonight. So I'm having this orientation for the One to World Fullbright Global Classroom. We will be discussing different aspects of cultures from worldwide global guides who are all Fulbright scholars. And in that way, we will be able to enter the classrooms in the United States. So this is specifically for the tri-states of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. So we hope that all throughout this school year, we will be able to share the culture of the Philippines in commemoration of the 75th anniversary of the Fullbright Scholarship in our country, the largest, longest running scholarship in the world, and also in relation to the 75th diplomatic relations between the United States and the Philippines. So this is indeed a good opportunity for us to share the different aspects of our Philippine culture to American school children as well as university students, so that they will be much more informed about our country. In addition, of course, we will have some exchanges with other global guides from other countries who are likewise Fulbright scholars. So with this opportunity from One to World, we hope that we will be able to reach a wider audience and also to feature a specific school and grade level in the American school system, so that we will have a wide gamut of topics and themes as well as different levels of learning and educational system that we can inform the Filipino audience on. So we're so looking forward to this feature from One to World and the Fulbright Scholarship in the United States, and we look forward to working with the global guides in this feature. Thank you.
So when we're in person, we really get to interact in a way that's completely different. But the other thing that I wanted to just highlight is that since we've been engaging in distance learning, there are way more opportunities for you to get involved. So yes, we do have online programs and classes that you can present for, like traditionally, but there are also other things that we find that a lot of our schools are requesting now. So sometimes you might be asked to sit on a panel. For example, if you are into anything related to STEM, a lot of schools have been asking for their kids to meet people who are working in STEM or studying something that's STEM. And STEM is just a word that just anything that's in science, technology, engineering, or math. And some schools will say STEAM, adding an A, meaning that anything related to art. And then sometimes, you might be asked to sit in on a training or to share your experiences. And then sometimes you might even be asked just to engage with parents or educators, because a lot of our teachers and a lot of our parents are really interested in learning about how parenting or teaching might be different in other countries as well. So I just wanted to throw that out there, because just in case if you ever get an email from me that just asks if you're interested to participate in something that's not a traditional class or an online class, that is because the pandemic has really brought about all of these other interests from some of the schools and partners that we serve. Again, I'm just pausing in case anyone has a question or comment. Okay. All right. So just kind of getting more into like the programs, the themes, and the structure of our workshops. So when we think about the different programs that we have, so our programs can last anywhere from 10 weeks to a year, but they all are pretty much structured and broken down very similarly. So normally there are always a set of introductory workshops, and this is what we would basically do with a global classroom staff or myself. We'll go in with a classroom and we will really, introduce all of the themes. We'll introduce the themes, the topics, make sure that students understand their expectations, really set the tone for the program. And then there are multiple global guide workshops. So these are the workshops that we'd be calling on you to participate with. So for an example, let's say we're working with the school all about climate action, for an example, it's just a popular topic. So myself or, one of our other educators will go in with this classroom and really make sure that they understand, what is climate change? What are the things that cause climate change? What is climate action? How are people fighting that? And then from there, they will meet a series of global guides, so a series of people like you who will come in and share what kind of environmental challenges exist in your country. An example of this, just randomly thinking about, I remember last year, students met someone from Brazil who talked about a lot of challenges, with the rainforests. And that's just one example. They've also met global guys from Germany who talked about Germany's recycling laws and procedures. So they'll meet a series of global guys that talk about various topics within that, overall theme. And it could be anywhere from about 5 all the way to 20 or 30 workshops. And then finally, students will create their own projects or their own presentations and responses to everything that they've learned. So this means that, they could be sitting in your workshop and they can hear something that's really interesting about your country. And they can think, wow, well, if, Germany came up with this system that seems to be working, maybe we can implement something similar in our school. And I'm just saying that as an example because this was one of our students' projects. And they created an entire recycling system for their elementary school. And that's just one example. So just wanted to break down kind of like what the overall programs look, so you can see how like your participation will really support our students learning about these topics. And then just to kind of go over some of the popular themes. So the first, and we kind of think about our themes, our topics as like buckets. So the first one is global citizenship. And that covers everything from topics like equality, sustainability, different like hunger and activism and voting. All of these different topics, would kind of fall within our global citizenship bucket of programs. And what makes these programs very different is because they require students to do some kind of action project at the end. So again, it could be something similar like what we just spoke about with, our young people who did the recycling project. It can also be sometimes students do an online campaign. Or sometimes if we're in like a STEM class, students might invent something that responds to the overall issue that they learned about. And then outside of that, we have our Global Lives programs. So Global Lives is really just anything that's sharing culture. And these programs are very popular with our elementary or our primary school students. So in these programs, we ask for you to come in and just share with students about what your life was like growing up. Sometimes, the schools would ask that we focus on a really specific part of culture, something like games in your culture or foods or religion. And we really get those requests from the schools, and then we build out the program from there. And we're going to talk about what that looks like from your end in just a bit. And another popular program that we're seeing the last couple of years is the Girls and Women's Lives programs. This is a global citizenship program, but it's really special because it really focuses on how these global issues impact the lives of girls and women specifically. And right now, for whatever reason in the city, there are a lot of funding sources for programs that focus on girls and girls' education. So we do have quite a few all-girls programs, and this is just a popular choice that their teachers go for them. And then we have our Global Careers program. And to me, this program is really awesome because, again, it really exposes students to possibilities outside of, what they thought they could reach for. So what's also cool about Global Careers is that sometimes we'll have schools that ask us to blend this program with any of the others. And you wouldn't know if that's what was happening, one, because we'll tell you, but then also because you might be asked to come in and talk about, equality issues in your country, but we also might carve out time for you to share with students what you're doing, what you're studying, what your career path is. And again, it's really just to get students thinking about possibilities for themselves after they graduate. All right, so So far, we talked about how the program is structured, and we just talked about the different types of themes and topics that we cover. Does anyone have any questions or comments about that? Okay. All right, and just kind of thinking about the elements of a workshop a little bit. So regardless of the topic, the theme, or the grades that you'll be working with, all of the workshops pretty much fit the same formula. So at some point, we'd be asking you to share a bit on your country and your culture. Then there'll be like the main topic that you're talking with students about, like whether it's climate issues, or it's culture, or whatever it is. And then we would work with you to develop an activity that can really get students hands-on and thinking and experiencing what they're learning in a more interactive way. And I don't want to spend too much time on this because you'll see how this breaks down in just a bit, but then every workshop is also broken down and structured accordingly. So there's always a warm-up, just something fun to get the students engaged and ready to learn. Then we do passport time, which is really geared towards their geography skills and making sure that they can understand where your country is located in reference to where they are. And then there will be the Share Your World section, where it's really just an opportunity for you to think about the most fun or interesting things, or thought-provoking things about your country or your culture, and share with students. And then in Project Connections, is a time where students really learn the main bread and butter of the workshop. So the top, whatever you've prepared in reference to the topic. Please don't worry, by the way, about writing notes down. I'm going to email everyone this PowerPoint presentation for your reference. And again, I'm just quickly skimming over this because you'll see what this looks like in just a few moments. All right, so just really quickly, I would love to hear from you. When you were a young person, or actually, even in your college and university experience, what were some of the most engaging classrooms that you were a part of?
Stay safe and good evening, everyone.
News.